this is really a reflection only on the fighters themselves. You don't want the embarrassment of fighters turning up to sign autographs to find that nobody is there. It's not a case of people not liking them. It's a case of people going to the big stars rather than the little stars. And if you mix it up so you have a very important person with a slightly less well-known person, and you share that out, you can ensure that all the queues are roughly, long enough to not to cause embarrassment. 15 minutes on the second day, 15 minutes before they were due to come out, there was absolutely nobody at the table for Mitrone and I can't remember who he was sat with now. Johnny Hendricks. There was nobody there. Now I hadn't planned on going into a queue for that, but when I saw that they were about to come out and there was nobody there, and on both sides of them, of course, there were long queues for all the other fighters. I thought, well, I'll go and I'll stand there, and I think I was third in the queue. And by the time they came out, lots of people had arrived because they thought English people think, oh, queues, we'll just sit there. We'll just stand there. So once you get the queue forming, that's fine. But the other thing is that with the Fan Expo being in England, 6 tables, bit of a blah. They wanted to really do 1 or 2 very, very long tables with a lot of people on. I know their reasoning behind doing small tables and lots of queues. That's so that you deliberately don't get round everybody, so that you have to come back the next time to see those you didn't see. Fair enough, but this is London. They're not here very often. It's not Vegas. The chances are that next time they bring fighters over, it won't be the same fighters anyway. So I think they can cut us a little bit of slack and do, maybe 2 or 3 tables rather than 6. The other thing is, if you're waiting 2 hours, you don't really want to just be seeing like 1 person. You would see 2, but that's a little bit, when they've got about 24 people, 24 fighters that they're bringing in, 2 hours for just 2 fighters is a little harsh when you are in England and you're not able to see, you're not able to go to, goodness knows when the next Fan Expo will be over here. So they want to think about that next time. They want to think about getting larger tables with more people on, so that the queues, the length of time you're queuing for, is worth it. What I would suggest is that they move that into one of the wings, and they take over a wing completely for autographs, because the queues are going to be horrendous if you have more than that many people, and you're going to need a lot of space. Because the one problem was that, of course, they were trying to, all the event staff were trying to cram us into these little queues, because otherwise you were sticking out and you were obstructing the walkways in the exhibition. So push it aside, push it into one of the wings. So you've got one of the wings there. The central hall, I would still use for exactly what they did, all the merchandise and stuff like that. And the other wing I'd use for the fight camps, and like they did, the training and development. Now the other thing, and this is not completely their fault, was that the weigh-ins didn't really work as well as they did at the O2. The O2, you had a lot of space. You could fit hundreds of people in for the free weigh-ins, and they could all sit down. They did it on the main stage, which was right at the end of the corridor on the far wall, and they had a seating that was stuck to the ground, so it was pre-laid seating by the exhibition hall. Nowhere near enough seats. Nowhere near enough seats, and this was on the first day, day 2, where you didn't have the amount that you had the day after. They're in a rock and hard place, because the alternative, of course, is to try and get people to leave the event, to go all the way to the O2, to come all the way back. They have to, I don't know, instantaneously what to do in that sense, unless they actually want to set out hundreds and hundreds of seats themselves around the area, which I suppose they could do, but it seems a lot of hassle. The other thing is, how the weigh-ins were free this time, I don't know, because if you didn't go to the expo, how did you get in to see the weigh-ins? So they want to also try and ensure that it's free. Now they could do that easily if they expand to fill the whole venue, because there are 3 entrances. One entrance at one of the wings, one entrance at the other wing, and the main entrance at the start of the corridor. And simply put, they would basically put barriers from one entrance all the way down to the main stage for just people that are arriving only for the weigh-ins. So I managed to see quite a lot of people at this event. I was quite lucky, really. I got photos with most of them, and I got autographs with most of them. And some fighters worked harder than others. Kendall Grove, for example, much though I'm not a big fan of his or his character, really worked full-time the whole day, for both days. He was stuck in an enclosed cage at one of the stands with the merchandise, a clothing brand, I can't remember which one it was, and he was signing autographs and stuff like that there for the morning, and then in the afternoon he'd have the 2-hour shifts of the event, the true autograph signings for the UFC itself. Now the way this worked was quite interesting. They had 2 sessions each day for the main autographs. The morning session was 10:30 till 12:30. The afternoon session was 1:30 till 3:30. They might want to think of expanding those, or they might want to think somehow of staggering the starting times. They also have to ensure that their fighters turn up on time. Most of them did, but some of them were a little late. It makes a difference if you're at the back of the queue as to whether you get to see them or not. Those that were brought in include Ryan Bader, Stephan Bonner, John Fitch, Johnny Hendricks, John Jones, Paul Kelly, Dwayne Ludwig, Cole Miller, Matt Mitrione, Nick Osipczak, Bondley Silva and Stefan Struve. That was the morning set, 2 to a table, 6 tables. The afternoon session was Thiago Alves, Randy Couture, Marcus Davis, Junior Dos Santos, Frankie Edgar, Rashid Evans, Rich Franklin, Kendall Grove, Gray Maynard, Ross Pearson, Aaron Wilkinson and Andre Winner. So they had good people there for the signings themselves. I have absolutely no problem with that. Their choice of people to bring across was fine in that respect. Throughout the day they also had question and answer sessions on the main stage, as well as the training and development, which worked well. I think they did very well with that, and I would just say, you know, basically just expand that, or work with that to the next time they're across.